Hi boys and girls, today we're working on lesson 6, so you should see lesson 6 problem set at the top of your binder. And in this lesson, we're using the distributive property as a strategy to multiply and divide using units of 6 and 7. And we used this strategy earlier when we did module 1, but we're bringing it back to solve facts with higher numbers. So it says label the tape diagrams, fill in the blanks to make the statements true. So this is our tape diagram, which looks a little different than the tape diagrams you might think of when we solve word problems. These are just rectangles with sections in them, okay? And what they've done is they've divided the tape diagram with this dotted line. So we're solving one problem on this side of the line and another problem over here, and then we're combining it all together with numbers in the box below. So you can see they set it up for us. This is 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there's 6 in each group. So if I show that, I'm going to have 6 in each one of these groups instead of counting them to show that there's 5, okay? So this is 5 groups of 6. How much is that? Well, I'm better off counting by 5, so I'm going to skip count by 5 6 times, and I'll get 30. Okay? This is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Now, how many sections do we have on this side? Well, there's only one, so this is one group, 6 in the group, equals a total of 6. Okay? So now we put it all together in the box below. We have 6 groups. This whole thing is 6 groups. And there's 6 in each group, right? But we solved it by breaking it into a 5 fact on this side of the dotted line and a 1 fact on the other side of the line. So in other words, what we did was we broke 6 out into 5 plus 1. There's still 6 in each group. Then what we're doing is we're showing the 5 times 6 plus the 1 times 6. So the 1 comes from here and the 5 comes from here. But there's still 6 in each group. So we basically took this fact, wrote it here, and this fact and wrote it here. Now we just solve each of those facts. We know 5 times 6 is 30. And up here we said 1 times 6 was 6. So 30 plus 6 gives us 36. That's the answer to 6 times 6. So we're really kind of just breaking it down into all these little pieces to try to solve the bigger problem. All right, let's try the one next to it. Okay, this is also showing that 5 fact, but it's a little different problem. Instead of one box on this side, we have 2, don't we? So I'm going to fill that in right now. That's 2 groups of 6. Okay. What is 2 times 6? 12. Okay, here we just solved what 5 times 6 was, so we can write 30. Okay, this is the 5 groups, and this is the 2 groups. You see where these numbers are coming from, okay? And there's going to be 6 in each one of these groups too. So now if we put that all together, we really have a total of 7 groups, right? Because we're adding 5 plus 2 groups together, and each group has 6 in it. So this next line just shows these 2 pieces added together. So here's your 5 plus 6, and your 5 times 6 is 30, 2 times 6 is 12. So to get the answer to 7 times 6, I have to add those together. 30 plus 10 is 40, plus 2 more is 42. So the answer to 7 times 6 is 42. Let's go to the next one, C and D. Oh my goodness, 5 times 6 is showing up again. So we know that's 30, and that's going to be this side of the tape diagram. But over here, how many groups do we have? 1, 2, 3. So we put the 3 here. 3 times 6 is 18. So now we put it all together down here like a mathematician would. We really have 8 total sections in our tape diagram, and they each have 6 in it, according to this problem up here, these 2 problems. So what they've done is they've broken the 8 into a 5 fact plus 3. 5 plus 3 gives us 8, and this 3 comes from up here. There's still 6 in each group. So now what we do is we multiply that 5 times 6 here to get 30. And we have to add to it the other side of the tape diagram, which is 3 times 6, or 18. So when I add those together, I get 48, which is the answer to 8 times 6. Okay, so it's a lot of writing, and it may seem confusing, but really all we're doing is we're saying, okay, if I have 8 groups, I'm going to break it into a group of 5 and a group of 3. And I'm going to multiply each of those times the value of each section, which is 6. And then I'm going to add them back together because I have to add 5 and 3 together to get 8, the total number of groups. All right, so letter D is our last one on this side. They all have 6 in here. We have 5 sections over here, so that's 30. How many sections do we have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So our 4 groups, 6 in each group, gives us 24. So we put it together down here. I have a total of 9 groups, which I can break into a 5 fact plus a 4 fact. 5 plus 4 is 9. There's still 6 in each group. Now under here I'm multiplying each of these pieces times the 6 in each group. So 5 times 6 is 30, plus 4 times 6 is 24. So when I add these two together, I get 54. And that's the answer to 9 times 6. Okay, you're kind of doing this on your homework on both pages, lessons 1 and 2. All right, let's go to the next page. Break apart 54 to solve 54 divided by 6. These can be tricky sometimes, mostly because we don't like division as much as we like multiplication. So see what we can do. Okay, so you see 54 divided by 6. They've broken it down into 30 divided by 6 and 24 divided by 6, and you'll see why in a second. So down here we've got the whole problem that comes from the top. They broke it into this piece, which goes right here. Now we need to show this piece, because when we put these two together with this addition sign, they give us the answer to that. So here we're just going to copy the 24 divided by 6. Here's why they broke it into these two pieces. What is 30 divided by 6? Or 6 times what is 30? Well, we just did that problem on the other side 4 times, except we did it in the multiplication direction. Okay? So they broke this into a 5 fact, a division 5 fact. So the other fact now is the remaining part of the 54 divided by 6, or 24 divided by 6. Well, how many times, or what do we multiply 6 by to get to 24? The answer to that is 4. So I can solve 54 divided by 6 by adding these two together. 5 plus 4 is 9. Okay? All right, let's try letter number 3. Break apart 49 to solve 49 divided by 7. So they broke apart, they pulled out 35 of the 49, so we have to figure out what's left and divide it by 7. You'll notice over here, these are all divided by 6. That has to stay the same. So that stays the same here. So we have to think, well, what is 49 minus 35? That's going to give us this remaining piece. And that is 14. Okay? So now we put it all together. We have 49 divided by 7 from the top is 35 divided by 7 plus this remaining piece, which is 14 divided by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. 7 times 5 is 35. So again, we found a 5 fact. Now we solve the remainder, 14 divided by 7, or 7 times what is 14? And we get 2. So to find the answer to 49 divided by 7, we add 5 plus 2, and we get 7. Okay? These can be tricky if you don't know how to break the two pieces down into a 5 fact. All right. Looks like we have 2 left. Number 4, Robert says that he can solve 6 times 8 by thinking of it as 5 times 8 plus 8. Is he right? Draw a picture to help explain your answer. All right, well, I'm going to draw a tape diagram like they had on the other side, or other page. So I've got 6 groups of 8, right? So draw 6 sections. So you're going to draw 5 lines, and each one has 8 in it. So can it be 5 times 8 plus 8? Well, let's find 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to draw my line right here. This is 5 times 8. Well, look over here. It's 1 8. That's what this is. So yes, he's right. He is right. Five groups of 8 plus one more 8 gives us groups of 8, or 6 times 8. Okay, so he's right because 5 groups of 8 is this side, plus one more 8 gives us the total of 6 groups of 8, which is 6 times 8. All right, so 6 times 8 just means 6 groups of 8. All right, let's do number 5. Is that the end? Yeah, that's the end. All right. Kelly solved 42 divided by 7 by using a number bond to break apart 42 into 2 parts. Show what her work might look like. Okay, so I know I have to divide everything by 7. That's the way these number bonds work. Okay, if this said divided by 2, I'd have to copy the divided by 2 everywhere. So now the way I'm going to think about this is 7 times 5 is what? I want to get a 5 fact to get me started. Well, 7 times 5 is 35. So that's going to be this one because that's going to end up being 5. Okay? Now, this part is the remaining piece of what's left over. 42 minus 35 is what? 7, right? So this has to be 7 divided by 7. Okay, so what we would do is we'd write 42 divided by 7 equals 35 divided by 7 plus 7 divided by 7. Okay? We just said 35 divided by 7 was 5, or 7 times 5 is 35, plus 7 divided by 7. Well, when you have the same number on both sides of the division sign, the answer is 1. So that tells us the answer to 42 divided by 7 is 6. Okay? So this lesson is all about using the distributive property to multiply and divide using groups of 6 and 7. So now you're going to go ahead and practice this on your homework. Have fun!